Yo, hello, Livestream Legends! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Livestream Legends. Today we're going to be tackling how to master virtual events with live streams, a match made in heaven that you need to be tapping into, whether you are currently a streamer, a podcaster, a content creator, a community builder of any type. We're going to be tackling how and why you should be considering live streams and virtual events together as a portion of your marketing strategy. So let me know if you're here in the mix today. We're going to be tackling everything you need. We're going to be becoming live stream legends together. So let's light up the chat if you're here and ready to go. This is Live Stream Legends. Let's roll. Yo, check it out. Drop a quick little comment if you are hanging with us here today. Would love to know who is in the mix and let me know where you're tuning in from. I see Elise coming in from South Africa. Welcome to the party. Mary Davis rocking and rolling with us. Thank you so much. Kelsey Lips in early as always. Appreciate you guys. Enrique Vipers, welcome to the party, brother. Always a pleasure to have you here. If you're catching this on the replay, skip ahead just a quick couple minutes where we're getting started. But for right now, we're warming up the room, saying hello. Drop a comment if you're here. Welcome to the show. Love it. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What we're going to be tackling today is anything and everything about virtual streaming. This is going to be a really selfishly exciting episode for myself, mostly because I'm learning all of this. So if you guys have noticed throughout the show, week after week, what we're doing is sharing all of the lessons that I've been learning, figuring out live streaming. And one of the most powerful things I've tapped into here is combining virtual events and live streams. What this really has done is opened up a new era of community building and virtual digital experiences that really can help you level up your brand, your media, and your marketing in general. For those of you that run businesses and companies, virtual events are becoming a hot commodity here to be able to tap into those things. So that's what we're going to be tapping into today. If you have any questions throughout the journey, let me know. Jump in the chat. This is a two-way street, a complete conversation with you guys. So really excited to tap into this, share what I know to the best of my ability, and then we'll tap into something here special at the end of the episode. So thank you guys for joining and welcome to Live Stream Legends. Let's jump into how to master virtual events and streams as a hybrid strategy. And ladies and gentlemen, again, I've got the secret sauce here for you guys. And what I've discovered is these three ways that you can utilize streams within virtual events essentially give you a limitless palette of how to pursue and create worlds and experiences for other people to jump into. So the first thing we're going to tap into is how to use streams for presentations and traditional panels that you might be used to. The second piece will be how to tap into streaming and utilizing it for displaying multiple guests or multiple stages. This is a recurring need for larger events that have multiple places people need to go. And then the last piece, which is my favorite, is how to tap into these streams and utilize them for entertainment or just playing some games. This is a brilliant win for most virtual events to have some form of entertainment or games that you can tap into. So thank you to everybody that's been joining. I see we got a bunch of new people hopping in and some stragglers. Robert Berry is back with us again. Marky B in the building. Teresa, Yvonne, thank you guys so much. And as always, Majida, appreciate you hopping in as well. So let's keep it rolling, folks. We're talking about how to master virtual events and streams. And the first piece we're jumping into is using streams for a presentation. You guys may have seen, if you've been attending virtual events, this is most likely something that you've encountered is an individual that's utilizing a medium for something like a virtual keynote speech or presentation. It can be multimedia. Other times it's just a single person talking. But what this has done is essentially turned what used to be public stages at like conferences when you would go see a public speaker or special keynote speaker. What we're seeing is a lot of those individuals and people like them are turning to virtual events and delivering virtual keynote speeches in more creative ways because you now have multimedia to access. You have these fancy little software things and all the stuff like what I'm playing with over here to use as a part of your palette. So consider how you can use streaming to enhance any existing presentations or speeches or anything that you already have prepared. I challenge you to think, how can you level that up by utilizing a live streaming platform or software like Restream? It's a bottomless pit, let me tell you. It's a bottomless pit of what you can technically do. So I encourage you to explore and get creative with it. Now, number 2, within presentations and panels is understanding a group environment. In certain occasions, you need multiple speakers. You'll need a moderator and then experts from different industries or something like that, all together in the same conversation. Now, rather than just having to do that in a private Zoom room or something like that, what you can do is use a streaming platform to collate that conversation, collate everything, do all the fancy overlays or anything you need to add on top of it, and stream that directly to the virtual event. And this is a really creative way to mix things up with multiple guests and give people that what used to feel like an entire panel of speakers that you would go listen to at an event. We're basically duplicating that same model. So you guys are probably seeing a theme here of duplicating physical events into this virtual realm. So that's what we're chatting about now, is this first level of how to use streaming, which we've tapped into these 2 pieces. And the third one is something you are probably very familiar with, is more of a one-on-one interview or debate. You can use streaming to be a interview platform that people at the virtual event can attend. So this is great for debates or even just traditional interviews. If you have a spotlight guest or a highlighted expert for your event, this is a simple way you can use the stream to get everybody there and essentially collate them together. So this is what I want you to think of when you are considering your streaming and virtual event strategy, is how can you set up and use these 3 tools: virtual keynotes and presentations, panels and roundtables, and traditional interviews. These will level up your game and give the audience experience something that feels super tight, super fresh, and it doesn't rely on the entire audience at the event to interact with one another. You can have essentially a main event type of thing going on. So when you integrate streaming with your virtual events in this way, you'll see everything that you do slowly level up. So let's keep it rolling. into the second category here, which is very similar to when you've been to think of like a music festival or anything that has several stages, lots of booths. Sometimes you need to develop a setup that allows people to take different lanes and different options. So this is what we're talking about in the second category, is how to use streams to set up multiple stages that people can attend or visit and go to. And this is brilliant for entertainment type of stuff where people can choose. As Therese is mentioning, it's very Bonnaroo style. That's a very appropriate thing when there's multiple stages at these events. If you've been to those festivals, it's a bit of a choose your own adventure experience. And this is one of my favorite parts of live streaming, is being able to integrate those multiple stages so that people can have their own experience, and it's not just the same force-fed stream the entire time. So think about how you can consider these multiple stages as tools for you to build a world of some sort. So my first tip for setting up these multiple stages is having a clear theme or lineup. Again, my music festival bias here. When you go to the festival, they typically sort stages by genre or style of music. They get like-minded artists and people to gather in similar areas. So think of how you can do this, whether it's sorting by business industry or getting a lineup of all cybersecurity experts in a panel or in a lineup. That's going to be a brilliant way to bring things together in a cohesive way that people understand. So think of how you can set a theme stage and lineup that makes sense. Now, the other piece of that is now creating virtual rooms that people can attend. So one of the most powerful features in these virtual events is that you have control of the rooms that people are able to navigate and jump in and out of, or you can even force them into specific rooms or tables, sometimes they're called. So think of how you can strategically use that to your advantage. In the context of something like guided networking. If you wanted to connect mentors and mentees, you can push people into a specific room that's designed for exactly that. So keep that top of mind for how you can utilize virtual rooms that have a specific purpose. And then the last piece, which I've kind of alluded to here, is how can you duplicate festival style experiences? And this is what I really mean by this, is how can you let people choose their own adventure, choose their own destiny? Whereas when you go to see a movie or you go to a single concert, there's one thing to do and watch. When you set up a virtual event, you have the ability to broaden that and let everybody there get a slightly different experience. So I encourage you to use this medium in ways that you can duplicate physical events. That's going to be number 2, and we are about to move on after a quick little drink break. Sponsored by Rockstar. Not really. That would be dope, though. So let's keep it rolling into the next piece, which is my absolute favorite, which is how to use games and entertainment within your streams. This is something you've got to be tapping into. It creates a unique experience that a lot of people are not really doing. I think as soon as people think of streaming or events, they just think of traditional interviews. And I encourage you and want to think of anything that we can do in this medium that mixes it up or spices it up a little. And one of the best ways to do that is with games and entertainment. So what I've really been seeing and following, I look at the esports industry a ton, and there are so many lessons that you can extract by looking at industries that are ahead of the game in streaming and live events. And if anybody's familiar with esports, they have probably seen some of the recent competitions and tournaments that have been put together. And they are hands down the most impressive virtual and digital events I've seen. So this is a great model to duplicate, is putting together some type of competition that people are coming to compete. And then you have a host or commentators that are essentially sharing that journey with the audience, with the experience, giving people context for what exactly is going on, and making it more exciting, the same way that we watch traditional sports and broadcasts in that context. You can do the same with virtual events and streaming, combining them into creative ways. So think about how you can throw together competitions, commentary type of formats that will mix things up and keep things exciting on both ends. Now, the other piece of this, rather than watching a competition or watching individuals game, the other thing you can do is enable games that other people can join. So think of interactive entertainment things like trivia. Jackbox games are a very popular way for people to join and jump in. What this does is it gives everybody a home base to connect and kind of it gives everybody a singular reason to kind of connect with one another, have a little bit of friendly competition, and just spice things up in a more casual way. It's not a very intense tournament with a winner and everything. It's just something to pass the time the same way that you would in a bar, why bars have trivia. It's just a great way to level up how you can have fun with things. And now, the last piece of integrating entertainment into your stream, another one of my favorites, is bringing art, music, or any type of talented people into your stream. This is how you can essentially have a micro event within your larger event. So this is a great way to have an artist that's displaying their work while they're live, musicians that play stuff live. I think we had our guest a couple weeks ago, Greg Offner Jr., and he literally plays music like a virtual piano bar on stream at events. So think of how you can creatively use other individuals' talent to highlight them as if they were a special guest. So YM News, my apologies. Drop your questions in the chat here. The chat's streaming by pretty quickly. So if I miss your questions or comments, feel free to drop them again, but we will save all the questions kind of towards the end, and got something in store. But let's go ahead and start wrapping up. So what we've gone over as of right now, we want to bring it all together. So let's briefly tap into what we've gone over. These three categories: how to use streams as a presentation and as a panel. This is something that's going to be great for individual guests that are coming to you. Then we went into streaming in multiple stages, how you can utilize the virtual event platforms to set up multiple stages that people can go to. And then my most favorite part is the games and entertainment, how you can sneak in creative ways to enable a unique experience that's more enjoyable, a little bit more fun from the user side. So when we're bringing it all together here, these are what you need to focus on. Think of a virtual event as a user-controlled experience guided by you as a producer. So the whole point of a virtual event is for people to essentially come in and they can do their own thing. They can kind of choose their own path, but it's your job as a producer to set up the event, to make it clear. What are we supposed to do? What are we able to do? How do we do it? How do we navigate within that? And those are going to be critical pieces that bring everything together. And just be mindful of how you can make that experience as clear as possible and as enjoyable as possible is another brilliant way to do that. So keep that in mind as you're developing things. And then my favorite piece, this is just the perspective I continuously have in art and music and streaming and events, is how can we build a world? How can we build a new world with these tools, with this technology, with music and art and the overlays and video? You have so much at your disposal to build a world that you can bring other people into. And I heavily encourage you to adopt this mentality when you're pursuing virtual events. And then the last piece of this is really just making sure that your absolute focus is on serving an audience with deep empathy. It's very easy to get distracted by all the technology and cool stuff you can do and this and that that you want to do as an organizer, but ultimately you need to think from the audience perspective. What do they want? What do they care about? And what do they need to have a good time? So when you bring all of those together in unison, you will see that your streams, your experiences, and your community will all level up. So I heavily encourage you all to test the waters there. And as always, this is my favorite tool for combining streams, bringing in guests, managing, doing all this fancy fun stuff in a super simple way. I heavily encourage you to utilize Restream when and if you consider any of these virtual events, or even just getting started streaming on your own. You don't have to set the bar too high. Just jump in, test the waters, and I promise you'll enjoy it. So that technically was the end of the show, the end of the insights. But I would love to chat a little bit more about virtual events. I wonder if there's anybody in here in the audience that knows virtual events that would like to chat with me. I wonder who. Let me know if you guys know here in the chat anybody that might be a good expert to talk to about virtual events. Oh, maybe we've got Kelsey Lips here in the building. Let me see if we can get a little surprise guest action going here. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are gonna pool a surprise guest. If we've got enough people here, we're gonna keep it rolling. We gotta hit the 30-minute mark, and I believe we got a little something. Let's make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I see somebody backstage. They're breaking in backstage into the green room. It's happening. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Kelsey Lips. Yo.
Hello.
Yo. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are bringing in a surprise special guest, Kelsey Lips, the founder and CEO of Inked Insomnia Events, who have been throwing some dope art parties over the last several months. I've been following Kelsey's journey, and she is absolutely crushing it in the realm of virtual events. So it only seemed fitting to bring you in here. Thank you so much, Kelsey, for joining Livestream Legends.
No, I'm happy to be here. I mean, this is definitely right up my alley, isn't it?
Exactly. No, this has been amazing.
Hi, everyone. I see everybody in the chat. Hello.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we have been, I apologize. Yeah. I've been neglecting the chat. There's so many amazing people here. Let me know if you have been to any of these virtual events or events that you guys have been on from the chat. We'd love to hear what you want to hear. This is an open conversation, so you can drop comments, you can drop questions, you can drop trolling emojis if you want, whatever you want to do. This is an interactive conversation, but I'm selfishly just curious because I've been following Kelsey's journey. And for those of you that don't know, she started from not only like from scratch, but like years behind in as far as understanding and managing
Yes,
technology. So I don't mean this in a patronizing way, but when we first connected, like she was still on a flip phone and like didn't have a computer to run things, and she's completely turned that around, learned how to tap into live stream events, virtual events, and set experiences for people to connect and collaborate in a creative way. So that's what we're going to briefly chat about today, is with our special guest, Kelsey Lips. So thank you guys for joining. If you have a question, drop it in the chat here. But I'm going to start with your individual journey, because that's what's most impressive from afar, is seeing you literally come from nothing, completely shift lanes during the pandemic, and then you got a new thing going here that's
I
like
do.
rocking and rolling. So what is your version of that story? What started your transition into virtual events, and then what were kind of your pivot points or primary milestones kind of along the way to where you're at today, which has been so impressive to just see the distance between then and now.
So the start of my journey really was LinkedIn.
Mm.
I had a flip phone. I started LinkedIn, and I was, doing in-person events and everything, and that was before the worldly thing happened. So that actually kind of forced me out of my previous job into trying to find something else that, would be more compatible with my situation. And getting getting a smartphone was like probably one of the hardest things for me, was getting a smartphone and going online, because I hadn't had a social media at all. LinkedIn was the number one, the first one ever, and still, besides Discord, the only thing I have. And then I realized that I really had to pivot just like everybody else, and I would have to push myself really hard. So I studied every single day, everything I could having to do with like technology and computers. And I mean, starting from scratch, like not even knowing how to turn on a computer. I started with a laptop, and a group of very amazing people got some funds together and got me a computer to kind of help me along my journey. And most of them are here in the audience, so I'd like to say thank you to the Vipers. You guys are amazing. I appreciate your help with that. But yeah, it's been interesting. I met a few people online here on LinkedIn, and they were into the virtual event thing, and I was real into art, and I thought, this would be a really cool way to like, help the artist community kind of be more interactive with each other and be more involved in the community, kind of, because it's a little bit hard, especially with everybody trying to be an artist right now with the pandemic and all that stuff. So I really wanted to help artists and everybody just be more creative. And I knew that the way to do that would be to obviously bring these people together and form this community. So I started doing these virtual parties, these art exhibits that are extremely interactive. Uh, and it's been an amazing thing. And from there, once I started those virtual events, that's when that company reached out to me and asked if I would want to do tech support and hosting for their virtual events and be like the point of contact and things like that for certain clients. And
Mm.
they had seen my journey, and they knew, just how hard I had worked and how quickly I had learned everything. And even though I was still struggling, they believed in me enough that I could do this. And that's really what helped me through it, was having people that out there that believe in me. So that's kind of
Mm.
slightly quick nutshell of what went on in the past year and a half or so.
I love it. It's been amazing to follow from afar, and now even more so in integrating our worlds. So for everybody that's here joining us in the chat, hopefully you've noticed the key pieces here of just starting. I've consistently reinforced this over and over every single episode to at least just start, just test the waters, just try it, even if it's brutal, if it's awful, test the waters. And more likely than not, once you get that consistency going, everything naturally improves. And seek out those people, that community that's going to support you. If you're looking for a community that's going to support you, we would love to be that community for you. So for those of you over on YouTube, those of you over on LinkedIn and on Facebook, everybody, if you are a creator or creative of any kind, we would love to invite you to our Discord community. If Jackie or Teresa could drop the link to our Discord, we've got a bunch of artists, streamers, producers, musicians, entrepreneurs. We've got a brilliant crowd supporting one another. So would love to have you as part of that journey. And for you specifically, Kelsey, it's been amazing I've been attending all of these events, these art events, and I've been seeing it level up every single time. And we finally have connected and synced up, and we are proud to announce our first official collaboration between the Beast Node and Inked Insomnia. We have a special event coming this weekend, the Heart of the Beast. Kelsey has been rocking and rolling behind the scenes to build out a brilliant event for us as individuals, us as creators, to master the art of business, and then more difficultly, master the business of art. So if you are in that intersection of an artist or entrepreneurship, we would love to have you attend our event, which we do have here in the description. If you'd like to register for that event, you can just hop straight into the description. There's a join virtual event link, and that'll get you set up for our event that's going on this Saturday, the 31st. So we would love to have you guys there, see how exactly this works, and what a virtual event feels like, because I haven't had anything as good for community building since we've started this. And maybe I'm a little late to the party, but once I joined your first virtual event, it started to show the light on, whoa, okay, there's a lot that you can do between tables and stages, and breakout rooms and all of this setup. So we'd love to have you there, to not only be a part of the experience itself, but think of how you can now join or create your own events in the future. So just had to get that out of the way. I've been excited to reveal and drop that. We've been sharing it with all of y'all. But let's just tap into, so you guys that are hanging with us here, we are essentially going to open up the room for Q&A if anybody wants to hop in here. But we're just going to chat with Kelsey a little bit to hear so far what has been your favorite part about jumping into virtual events, and this whole digital community realm. Do you have any highlights that would be enticing to bring new or people that maybe tried it before and didn't quite have the results they were expecting? What have been your favorite parts, or the part that have benefited your life the most?
Well, I would say definitely the community. That's like a huge thing for me, and the virtual event has done just that, especially on the platform that I use. It really makes it so that you can have that as close to in-person feeling as it used to be when you used to be at a party, where you could go to different different tables and see somebody doing something and talk to them face to face and just really interact. And yeah, I think that definitely that's been my favorite part about it, is just the community and being able to connect with people that normally you wouldn't be able to. Not everybody has the money to fly all over the place. And it's been amazing to really connect with people from all over the world. I have a ton of artists that are over in the UK, and it's just really nice to be able to interact with them and learn from them. So that's definitely my favorite part of this journey is finally being able to connect with some people and connect with people out of my area. I don't know too many people. I know a few people around here, but it's just nice to be around the world with these kind of events and really tap into that community feeling that we used to have when
Oh yeah.
because I did used to host in person. So it's nice to get back to something similar.
Oh, back back in my day when you could actually meet people at conferences and in person. No, that's absolutely amazing. Quick comment here from Sean. Thank you for jumping in. Saying that Socio, an event platform, has recently added integration with Restream. That makes my life brilliant. Happy to hear that. Thank you for including that, Sean. It's been brilliant to experiment with all of these mediums and everything going. And I think that key piece that Kelsey just mentioned here, you guys, is the community building element. So many people out here are focused on they want to go be Gary V and have their viral post that reaches 1 million people and gets 1 million views. And sure, there is room for that in your content strategy and your marketing, etc. But what's going to be far more powerful and have way more of an impact is focusing on community. We've reached an era now in this pandemic era where we've been stripped of a lot of the social connection and community we used to have. So there is a desperate void for people to step in and fill that need for community, which is exactly what I've been seeing Kelsey do over in her world for artists. I've been doing the same in my world for business-minded creatives that often are artists anyways, I'm discovering.
Right.
And that's why we're merging these worlds to help the art of business and the business of art. So if you guys are curious to join that, to see that, please join the registration link we've got here in the chat as well as in the description. Yeah, I see a bunch of people hopping in here. Usama, thank you so much. Yvonne's rocking and rolling with us. Mindy's in the mix. Maria, with a question. Maria is asking one of the most recurring questions I get of how do you produce a show? How do you produce a show? There's a lot in this mix. I can share what I do on the streaming side, and then we can jump over to Kelsey for what she does on a virtual event side. But when I'm producing a show, Maria, what I start with almost every time is the strategy and the vision. You need to understand what is this for, and who is this for. If you can start from there and kind of reverse engineer, you'll see that the rest starts to kind of work out itself. So starting with the audience and the guests, the experience, what do they need? What do they want? And then working backwards. And I use the streaming technology, stuff like Restream or OBS, to essentially, that's my palette for how I create that experience. So if it needs to be engaging and integrate chat, we figure out that. Or if it's just a highlighted interview type of setup, I make sure I set the technical side of the production for that. And then the last piece, which is fortunately or unfortunately the most critical, is the promo. Systemizing your promotion and just doubling down. Whatever amount of promo you were gonna do, double it. Do more of it.
At least.
I think a lot of people, this was something I learned in the music world, you need to overinvest on the promotion rather than the production. As a creator, as an artist, as a creative, it's easy to get pulled into what is the experience or the production of the event going to be. And that is critical, but what's even more important is promoting to actually get people there. So that's the third piece in my world that I've integrated to all of my streams. And I'm certain it probably duplicates over to the virtual event realm. But let's hear from your end, Kelsey. How do you produce a virtual event?
I'm going to definitely side with you on the promotions part. Actually everything, but definitely the promotions part. I think that um, that's a huge thing that they tend to forget as artists and creatives is really that's the key thing, is being able to be seen and get these people, to follow you, connect with you, support you, and whatnot. And yes, doubling down, and if not tripling down. And then I would say test, test, test.
Hmm.
Lots of testing, especially when it comes to like what we're talking about as far as like streaming through live, um, through virtual events. So that's very important, because you never know what's going to happen, and technology is technology and everything like
Yeah.
that. So I'd say test. Yeah, I would say test a few times, definitely, to make sure that you have that going for you, and stay focused. Definitely stay focused. Picture your audience in their underwear.
Yeah.
Um,
Back to the same old public speaking tricks.
that's a partial joke, because the truth is most of your audience is going to be in their underwear and you don't know
Yes.
it.
Oh, the beauty of virtual worlds. Oh, love it. Amazing to see all of this. Majita's jumping in here with a brilliant question relevant to both ends of this. How do we notify people of our streams and events? This is a bottomless pit to discover, Majita, but we are working on exploring all angles to possibly consider this equation. So, from what I've tapped into in my world, I have three different things going to get promos. Get people to actually show up here that many of you might be familiar with. So the first one is, again, community home base. For us, we have a Discord server going that's a 24/7 community base of people helping one another, sharing their own streams that we attend, and vice versa. When I have a stream or an event, we alert them within our community. That's number one, and typically the most effective, because it has a compounding element. Once somebody joins your community, they typically start contributing and helping others, and then bringing them to the community, and it gets this snowball effect for the long run. And then the other piece that I use is social media, specifically LinkedIn. We use LinkedIn event pages to create an event for the event, shocker, and then pool the manual invites. You can manually invite people to attend the event, and then the day that it arrives, it's on their calendar, good to go. And you can transfer people from social media to the physical event. And then the last piece that I utilize is email. Good old classic traditional email. You can collect email registrations for the event like we are, or again, having a compounding consideration here of building out your email list in a continuous, as an asset that is literally an asset that you own. So if you can continuously use your own mailing list to promote and bring people to events, you'll start to see a compounding element over time when you stick with it. So those are my three that I tap into for streams specifically, and I'm just now tapping into virtual events here this weekend with Kelsey, and I anticipate we're doing about the same. Is there anything that you would add or that you have in your realm that helps bring people to these events and streams that we're talking about?
I'm gonna go with all of the above. The same things. The Discord. I use event pages, email is a big thing, because believe it or not, email is still everybody's number one choice. Yeah, especially when you reach out to somebody and say, what's the best way to contact you and things like that. When it has to do with the business relationship, most likely going to be email. So email is a great way to utilize that. Also, just posting a few times about it. I feel like people forget that to promote themselves is you could post about it several times on LinkedIn and really get people to understand why they're coming. And then don't forget to support your community. Don't forget to do your part, because that's going to help bring people into you more and want to attend your live streams, your events, and everything like that. You really need to be a supportive presence, because that's why they're there. They're there for you. I'm sure there are other reasons they're there for the subject, but for the most part, they're coming there because they like you. They like what you're going to say. They like who you are.
Love it.
So that would be my advice.
I've seen the same. Yeah, no, the organic community building, you'll notice you have a core audience most of the time there, and then the challenge is getting fresh and new people there as well. And I see Sean hopping in here again over on YouTube, sharing a link to the Restream social alerts. This is another brilliant way that you can keep people in the loop with what you've got going, what streams, events, everything that are coming up. So thank you again, Sean, hooking me up over there on YouTube. Thank you, brother. So what we've chatted about today was streaming specifically and how to plug it into virtual events, and lots of ways that we can tap into specific strategies to integrate those streams into your virtual events. So brilliant episode thus far. We have tapped into the second half. We're wrapping up here soon. We're in the open Q&A section, and we have a question from NGWO TV. Sounds like a broadcast station over there, but apparently they don't have broadcast quality video quite yet, and they have a DSLR camera to stream. So the setup for a DSLR is going to need a fairly decent computer. That's going to be kind of the core piece here, is a pretty solid computer that can absorb and encode HD video. That's typically what people are shooting for when they upgrade to a DSLR. So if you already have the gear, what you're going to need is the camera itself, a lens that's adapted to your room, the distance in your room and the angle that you want to set up, or whatever your studio is. And then on the software side, you'll need to optimize whatever settings you can adjust. So DSLRs have all kinds of fancy settings that for professional photographers to utilize. So you need to learn the exposure, white balance. Those type of things are going to make a huge difference for using a DSLR and upgrading your camera to that super crisp quality. And then the last piece of this puzzle is your internet bandwidth. So when you're considering any type of streaming, your quality is going to drop to whatever the lowest, the weakest link in the chain is. So if your computer can only handle 720 or even not even that, as far as resolution, that's going to be the max you could stream at. If your internet is only a couple megabytes per second, you might not be able to jump up to that HD setting. So NGWO TV, those are the primary pieces you need to consider in that equation. And we do have prior episodes of Livestream Legends that go into exactly this, of how to either set up your webcam, like I'm actually still rocking and rolling on a webcam, or the DSLR, how to get that as crisp as possible. So thank you so much for the question. If anybody else wants to sneak in here while we've got a few minutes left to ask,
it looks like Majida
streaming
has a question.
Well, let's get it. If you can see it, feel free to address it, because I'm scrolling over here.
Oh, okay. So she's wondering, how do I connect an An external art tablet to OBS laptop wired for
There it
stability.
is.
Do you find it?
Look at this. Oh, so the options you have here, they might not you've got multiple ways that you can pursue this, Majida. But actually I'm gonna recommend not only because this show is on Restream, but I'm gonna recommend Restream Studio as the management for this, because you'll be able to tap into the super simple multi-camera setup here. So what you can essentially do is join the studio as a guest from your tablet. And what that will do is basically give you an option in the same way that I'm controlling Kelsey's video here. We can move it left, right, full screen, half screen, whatever. You can control your art, your secondary camera, essentially as the second guest. It would basically operate the exact same way as a second guest. So if you wanted to switch it up and have your art stream be this big one, and then have yourself be the little one down here, or vice versa, I would recommend going with Restream Studio. But if OBS is your only option, then what you need to do is add it as a video source. You can use a tool like OBS Ninja, which will capture and relay your video in a... Well, let me switch this back. Throw me off over there. That's going to be a brilliant way. So that's going to be my recommendation, is to actually try it in Restream Studio. Majida, that's going to be a lot easier on your life. But if your only option is OBS, you're going to need another piece of that. And then for the wired stability, the internet connection, your best option is to try and get that tablet onto a hotspot. I've been seeing a lot of guests that are having good luck with using a reliable 5G hotspot over their Wi-Fi or hotel Wi-Fi. So that'll level it up. And in most cases, I wish you could plug an Ethernet cable into those, but that is not the case. So hopefully that helps you, Majida. And I believe we are pretty much good to go. So I'm going to throw it back at Kelsey for a quick little wrap up. Do you have any final words or advice that you can share for somebody that is considering virtual events or has tried them before and didn't quite get it in any context? What advice or words can you share with anybody in that situation considering virtual events in their world?
I would say just do it, just keep trying. I know it can seem a little, oh, maybe I don't want to do this. And, people can get discouraged over, anything, but I would say keep at it. That's what I did. I just kept at it. And, of course it was a bit difficult for me coming from the background of no technology and not even knowing how to use a keyboard, but I would definitely say just keep at it. And
Love it.
yeah, just really, I think the main thing is community and entertainment. Keep everybody entertained. Keep it going, because people have very short attention spans. So yeah, I would definitely say make sure that you're entertaining and it's not just a bunch of talking heads. You're giving some sort of value, creating a community environment. And I feel like with that will come the joy of virtual events. Like once you let yourself get into that part of it, you'll see how much you love it.
Amazing. And in traditional live stream fashion, my headphones have actually just died. So I am casually replacing my battery while killing the time talking. And hopefully by the time we're done here, my
So that means
audio
that he
is
can't hear
back on.
at all, guys.
There we go.
That's great,
on the
isn't it?
fly.
Oh, darn.
There's how it is. All right, we are back
I
in
was taking
action.
advantage of that moment.
Oh, love it. Okay, so I couldn't agree more, except for the last 5 seconds of whatever you said, because I didn't hear it.
I'm sure you agree. I'm
Oh,
sure you agree.
this is amazing. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, the recurring theme here is take the step, take the leap forward. If you want to test the waters of streaming, just dip your toes in the water. Jump into the Restream link that we've got here in the description. You can make an account in like 3 to 5 clicks and you're ready to go. If you're curious to join a virtual event and see how it goes, sort of learn the ropes of how streaming and virtual is integrated, please join the event. Register here in the link. It is free at the moment, but seats are limited. So would love to have you guys there. But ultimately, we just had another successful show of Livestream Legends. Thank you very much to Kelsey Lips for joining us, the CEO and founder of Inked Insomnia Events. Check them out if you have any interest as an artist or as a business owner for tapping into the creative community, because she is rocking it. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kelsey.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for joining another special edition of Livestream Legends. We would love to have you in our community, in our world. As you can tell, all the brilliant people here in the chat and in the community, thank you guys so much. Everybody on YouTube that's watching over on the Restream channel, give us a quick little like so other people can find this video, see this video, and we can know that you were here. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for your support, and we are rolling out of here. This has been another session of Livestream Legends. Thank you guys for joining. All right, that's the end of the line, folks. Y'all take care.